Hi, scholars, researchers, also the curious mind. Have you ever wondered why every thesis, every dissertation, and every research project insists on literature review? Is it just a pile of academic citations, or there is something deeper ongoing? So today, we are going to dive into the heart of your research engine, and that is the literature review. This is the heart, this is the engine of your research. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will never look at the same way again. You have been wondering, why is it my supervisor is pressing me so much to do a high-valued literature review? Why is it my professor is telling me you must review 20 journals, you must review 50 journals, you must review what others have done, you must review what others have done for 5 years, for 10 years, you must review the seminal work, who started this theory, and what are the assumptions, what are the limitations, and what is the way forward, what is the new development in this area that you are doing your research. Go and do your literature review and come back. Go and do a thorough literature review. Why is it so? Does it mean you just go there and compile a lot of academic citations and bring it? Or there is something deeper that is ongoing? So that is what I'm saying. In this video, we are going to see why you need to do a high-valued literature review. What are the key issues that you need to address, and why? What is the purpose of doing this literature review? Why is it every time you be told go back, your literature review is not sufficient, you have not demonstrated any gap in your literature review? So you can grab your notebook, put your coffee somewhere, and let us dive into this area, which is the engine of your research. Section 1. What is literature review? Let's start from there. Let us understand what is literature review before we break it down and understand the key point. So let's break it down in a language that you can understand. A literature review is more than just a list of books and articles, because that is the mind many scholars has, many students has, that it is just a list of many books and articles. You go and you collect so many books, so many literature. No, it is a smart, strategic analysis of existing knowledge on your research topic. It is a smart and very strategic analysis of the existing knowledge on your research. So if you don't include everything, you don't include something which is not related to what you are doing. It is a smart and strategic analysis of the existing knowledge on your topic. So some of us, we just collect any article, any book, and we cite it. In simple terms, we are saying it's like a GPS. It tells you where others have gone, what they have discovered, and where they are still unexplored territory. Get it very clear. In a simple terms, it is just like a GPS. It tells you where others have gone, what they have discovered, and where there is still unexplored territory, or there exists something that they have not discovered or they have not done. So you are not just saying what others have said because they have done this and this. You are analyzing, comparing, and questioning. And this is where I always say you check those literature or those scholars who have demonstrated the inconsistencies. Those who have demonstrated consistencies, and those who are neutral, and those who have found no relationship in a related topic that you are doing. So that is why you analyze, you compare, and you question why they did this and not this. Why did they use this method and not this? It is where you show that you have, it is where you show that you know the field. This is where your professor, this is where your supervisor will know you understand your area. Whether it is marketing, it is human resource, it is finance, it is accounting, it is supply chain management, it is any area in medicine, in physics, in mathematics. You demonstrate that you know your field because this is where you have reviewed the related work with what you are doing. So you are able to go and extract those related books and articles, journals, and whatever, and bring it together and critique them, analyze them, question what they have done. Okay? So it is a tedious work, and that is why it is the engine of the research. It is where you show that you know your field and that your study, it is not just born in isolation. You are not creating or you are not working in a system which is in isolation, in a vacuum. It is a part of a bigger academic conversation. You will not be the last one. Somebody will pick from where you have stopped and also critique your work and continue from where you have stopped. Section 2, why it matters. Why is it your supervisor, why is it your professor is insisting you must do sufficient and a thorough literature review? Why? So I'm going to share with you some of the reasons and some of the tips why it matters. And it must be done sufficiently. It must be done the way it is supposed to be done. Perhaps many universities and institutions will give a different structure on how they need it to be done. But the key issue here is what I'm going to share is very practical, and it must appear in whatever institution, in whatever university structure it is provided. This one must apply. 1, find out what already exists. Your literature review will be trying to find out what already exists. What is the current affairs? What is the status quo? What is the current issue? What is the current knowledge? So imagine you are trying to build a bridge, but not checking if someone already built one across the same river. Very practical. So why are you building another bridge? For what? So the literature review helps you avoid redundancy and stand on the shoulders of those who came before you. So it is going to avoid or to prevent you doing somebody's work which has already been done. The solution has been already provided. So what will be your contribution? That will be the challenge now. What will be your contribution if it has already been done? So that's why I'm saying when you review this literature, it will help you to avoid redundancy, and you're going to stand on the shoulders of those who came before you, and you continue from where they have stopped. Very key. So that is the point number 1. Point number 2, identify gaps in the literature. And this is where many scholars have a big challenge in identifying the gaps in the literature. Why? Because they don't do enough and sufficient and thorough literature review. They don't critique the literature. They don't critique others' work. And therefore, they find themselves in a fix. So this is what I'm saying in this point. This is where now you become a detective. You become an investigator. And what are you detecting? What is missing? What has everyone overlooked? Because I might have done a research on certain area, but there is something I overlooked or I missed. The gap is where your research lives, or this is where your research lives. It is your unique contribution to the knowledge. What is missing, or what others have overlooked, or they have not done it. And this is where now your research comes in. Number 3, find others working in the field. Yes, we can say that research is lonely, but it does not have to be. Literature review will connect you to the scholars whose work align with yours, and this is where now the collaboration starts. You are now going to find other people who have done what you have done, and that is where now you might even start collaborating with them. In the current status, we have platforms where researchers collaborate, where you put your work and other researchers are able to see your work, and now you can start connecting, you can start sharing the knowledge, you can start working together. So literature review is very key, because you will find other scholars in the area and they can help you to understand and to learn more. Point number 4 is identify the seminal work. This one is very key, and many scholars, many students these days, they don't care about the seminal work. You ask a student what is the seminal work in your work, they don't know. They don't know even what it is. So some papers will shape your field. Why? Because this is the original paper. This is the original scholarly work that was done concerning any of the variables that you are dealing with. There is somebody who did it, the groundbreaking for that area. Think like somebody like Estin in physics, or Porter in business strategy. You must bring them out clearly. You must review what did they say in that time and what has changed now. So you need to know these intellectual cornerstones to ground your research. You need to know them. So when you're talking about the agency theory, when you're talking about the portfolio theory, when you're talking about the behavioral theories, what is the seminal work behind them? Who proposed them? What is the groundbreaking work that was done about them? What did they say? And what did they do? So you need at least to look for these seminar papers, seminar articles, and read them and understand what did they say and what is the way forward. And now you are able now to join with the current state of affairs and you move on to the next level. So point number 5 is discover methodologies and research techniques. This is where now you are going to discover the methodologies, the techniques that were used by other scholars. And now you'll be able to know where your work will fit in. So whether it is quantitative or qualitative, surveys or interviews, the review show what work for others and will help you to choose the methods that are academically validated for your work. So when you do this review, it will show you what others have used and what has worked for others. And now you'll be able now to determine and see which one now can work for your work and validate. And this is why I keep on asking some of the scholars and students, when you drop a conceptual framework, where did you get that conceptual framework from? How many articles and papers have you reviewed that have used the similar conceptual framework? And why did they use it? And why are you using it now? So it is either you're borrowing it from them, modifying it to fit your work, and you justify why. And that is why it is very key to recognize the work of others. Number 6 is compare theories and conclusions. And this is where we say, or we can ask this question: do researchers agree or clash? Are there patterns or contradictions? So your job is to weave these findings into a coherent narrative. Because the researchers will agree, they will clash, they will follow a certain pattern, there will be contradiction, there will be neutrality, there will be some agreement. So your work is to analyze all this work, weave it together, and see the patterns, and see how coherent that work or that narrative is, and the theories that you have used, their conclusions, and that is where now you start seeing the gap. This is where now you start seeing the gaps. So that is why it is very important, because you'll be checking the theories that they have used and why they have used those theories, and that is where now you discover this theory is good for my work because the work that he did, it is related with what I'm doing. And you can borrow that theory and justify why it fits in your work, because so and so use it, so and so use it in this paper, so and so use it in this paper, and this is what is contribution, and so this is the reason why I'm using it in my work. So that is the reason why you don't just put theories and you justify and you say, I'm using this theory. Why? Where did you get it from? What are the seminal work behind it? Who have used it? What are the assumptions? How has it been created? What is the new issue about that theory? Before you use it, you need to justify, give those information so that it will be well grounded in your work. So point number 7, provide a context for your own research. So your study does not float in a vacuum. The literature review builds the background, showing how your research fits into the big picture. So you need to provide a context of your own research, because the work that you're going to do, it will not just be in a vacuum. And that is why you need to review the literature, because that is where now you start building your background. You will get the information that you are going to use in your background, those contradictions, inconsistencies, and whatever, showing how your research fits into the big picture. Because so and so did this and so did this, so my research now fits here, and this is the direction that I'm following. Point number 8, show a relationship between the studies. So don't just name and drop sources. You need to connect them. So many scholars and many students, they just drop a name and a source, but they don't connect it. You need to connect them. Show how theory A challenges theory B, or how fixing A complements method Y. And this shows the depth of your work, the depth of the literature review that you have done. So don't just say so and so did this, so what? You need to connect. You need to tell us how theory A and theory B work, or how theory A or scholar A challenge this work, and why. And you connect the dot. And this will demonstrate your deep understanding of the work that you are doing. And this becomes very important in academia. So the literature review is tedious, it's a lot of work that you have to do, and you have to follow at least this 8 points. You must be able to demonstrate that you have done sufficient, thorough, and deep literature review. So finally, the strategic role of your literature review. What is the strategic role of your literature review? So, think of your literature review like you are building a house. And the foundations are the theories and prior research that have been done. You lay bricks by showing what have been done. And you point out the cracks. Where are the cracks? And that is where you come in with your study. A very clear example. Take your literature review like somebody who is building a house. And the foundations are the theories and the previous research that have been done. So you start laying your bricks by showing what have been done, and you point out the cracks that others left. And that is where you come in with your study. It tells your audience, I have done my homework. I know the field, and here is the gap. And here, why my research matters. Full stop. You're just telling your audience, I have done my homework. I know my field. Here is the gap. And this is why my work or my research matters. Full stop. So before you skip past the literature review, remember, it is not just a boring hurdle. It is your launch pad of your work. It shows that you belong in the academic arena. So, finally, if this has helped you, do not forget to like, to subscribe, and hit that bell button for more practical tips on research, writing, and academic success. So you can drop your comments. It helps to build others and to build the research. And you can share with your colleagues, with your friends who are doing the academic work. So until next time, thank you.